Welcome to Elite Depth Chain in-house D. This is the second video I'm doing for my second life that I'm doing the Fiend Pact in, and doing the Tainted Scholar Tree this life. I'm going to go over my equipment choices for goggles, resistance 4. And I can wear light armor as a Warlock, so I've got invulnerability and +2 crafted on there. Using the Bracers of Wind just because it's got permanent blurry. I know that, just like I said before in the other videos, I know that I can cast that, but I kind of like having this on full time. Just got improved false life on the ring, feather falling on the boots, strength +4 on the gloves, charisma +4 on the ring, Con +4 on the belt, Cloak of Flames. This is a beautiful item for a Warlock doing the Fiend Pact or any kind of fire-based caster because it has your combustion spell power and your fire lore on one item, and then it also has some other goodies too. Right now this level 5 version, this is actually the level 7 version, but it's level 5 because I have a Shard of Masterful Craftsmanship, and I've emphasized this throughout a lot of my videos, but in case you are not aware, if you upgrade these House C challenge items to their tier 3 versions, they become craftable. And then you can add like a Shard of Masterful Craftsmanship on there. You can add other low level shards on there like Feather Falling and Melee Alacrity, for example. But so in this level 5 version just has a Heightened Awareness 1 as an extra goodie, but as I get the higher level versions, it'll have more extras on there, like Fire Absorption, for example, and a Fire Shield Guard. Just wearing the Voice of the Master for the good luck, and the 5% all-on XP bonus is pretty nice too. Evocation Focus 2 on the necklace, and Moderate Fortification on the helm. Now, I can use a shield even while doing, and benefit from the shield even while doing the Eldritch Blast. So I see no reason why not to use a shield. I mean, I'm getting an extra, let's see. So I'm 47 AC, 57 PRR, so down to 47 and 38. So that's an extra 10 PRR and an extra 9 armor class, so why the heck not? I've got 15% arcane spell failure, but you know, that's what, on my buffs, and when I cast suggestion, so I don't really care about that. It's not a big deal. You know, most of the time you're focusing on your Eldritch Blasts as a Warlock anyways. As I mentioned in my first life part of this series, that I remember reading on some release notes that the Eldritch Blasts, while they are not being affected by arcane spell failure right now, that they are supposed to be, so we'll see where that goes. Nothing's been changed yet. So maybe in the next patch, and today is July 13th. And then on the sickle here, I just got Impulse 48. Actually, I should have crafted a 54 for level 6. I just forgot about it, so a little bit lower than that should be. Talk about enhancements for a minute. So right now I don't have anything in any of the other trees. If you are new to Warlock and you're not familiar with how this works, the Tainted spell casting, when you damage enemies with Eldritch Blast or spells, it says except positive energy spells, you gain 1 depravity, and you can get that up to every 6.5 seconds, and then as you raise in levels, you get more of the innate abilities of the Tainted Scholar. You can get that up to once every 1.5 seconds, and then you can use that depravity to activate different abilities. And that works just like other counters. There's a lot of counter systems in this game now. And one of the things that you can do with that is you can just activate the Tainted spellcasting and get 25 universal spell power, +2 bonus to all spell DCs, and that lasts 20 seconds and a 60-second cooldown. And I picked up a couple other things. Stunning Blast, this activates for 4 depravity, and if I had that up to tier 3, it would activate for 2 depravity. And this is actually really lame, but I kept it just because I wanted to demonstrate it for the video. I'll be getting rid of it right after this video, though, and spending those points elsewhere. And then also Confusion here, you can activate for 2 depravity. We'll be down to 1 depravity once I get that to tier 3. And this thing actually does seem like it's kind of handy. I haven't played with it much, though. And here I just have it's plus 1d4 pack damage for each tier here. This is your chain shape. This is an Eldritch Blast stance. Okay, and not to be confused with an Eldritch Essence stance. It's because you can have one Eldritch Blast stance going, and you can have one Essence stance going. So the Essence stance, for example, that changes sort of like the type of damage that you're doing. So here, if we have the Utter Dark Blast Essence stance going, we're doing evil damage with our Eldritch Blast instead of force damage. And here in this Faltering Blast, we can do, you have a 10% chance to slow enemy movement speed by 50% for 6 seconds. So I could have one or the other. Now you can see I have them both here on my hotbar. If I activate the Utter Dark Blast, then the Faltering Blast goes inactive. I haven't even played with the Faltering Blast yet, so I'm going to put that on. And then the next tier up here is Penetrating Blast. This is also a Essence stance. And this says that your blast damage is now considered piercing instead of force. So even cooler. Now I do want to emphasize that the evil damage that you're doing with the Utter Dark Blast, that, even evil creatures can be affected by that. There are very few creatures in the game that are immune to evil damage, so it's not like a pure good weapon where it damages everything but good aligned creatures. This works differently. Like I said, it affects basically everything. There are very few creatures that are immune to evil damage. So you can have, like I said, the stance that affects the blast stance and the essence stance. You can have one of each of those going. So right now I have the chain stance going and the faltering blast stance going, in addition to having my Fiend Pact active. Nothing particularly fancy about Tainted Lore, just gives some extra goodies there. Okay, so Depth Chain. Terrible XP, no named loot, why run it? Because if you run it fast, then in terms of XP per minute, it can actually be worthwhile. I want to demonstrate. So, I guess I gotta build up some depravity. So I'm not just gonna zerg to the end here. Maybe I will for this one and just demonstrate some of those things in the next one. $3,200. Crappy XP. But 53 seconds. So that's what makes it worth it. By running right to the end. And then we go right to the next depth chain from this one. One of the things I've noticed, and I saw in maybe release notes or maybe it was a forum post, that you know, the auto targeting of the Eldritch Blast doesn't seem to update as fast as it ought to, so that can be a little frustrating. Like after you kill a mob, the next blast just tends to want to just shoot off into the ceiling instead of going right to the next target. Hopefully that'll be fixed. So I'll see if I can demonstrate. I've got a little bit of depravity built up here. So let's use the Stunning Blast. Now this is the one I said I really don't like. You can see it's kind of a slow wind up, and I actually hit it that time. When I was trying to use it before, it didn't seem to want to work, but maybe it just rolled bad. But it just seems like kind of a slow, and it's got, not only is it a little bit slower, but it's got to actually, it's like a ranged touch. It shoots a bolt, and that bolt's got to hit them for it to go into effect. So I'm not crazy about that. But this other one, the Confusion, this doesn't have to like hit them with a bolt. This just is like a, you know, like you'd hit with a dot or a, you know, Finger of Death. It just goes right to the target. It doesn't. It's not a ranged attack. So it acts more like a regular, well, I hate to call it a regular spell, but let's see if I can do it again here. Oop, I don't have enough. I don't have enough depravity. See, it just confuses him, and then he can, you know, he'll either attack me or he can attack other mobs. So it just, I guess it's just random what they attack, but I'm the only thing in the room right now, so he's attacking me. But I like that it doesn't have to, it's not a ranged attack, you know, there's nothing that can interrupt it in terms of if there are other mobs between you and your target. One of the things that I really don't like is the range on the Eldritch Blast. It's really, seems kind of short. It's about from here to that door down there. And I think one of the things that they need to do right away is double that, kind of like they did with the ray spells. You know, a few years ago, they doubled the range of all ray spells. And so that would be nice if they just did that right away. And then on top of that, also make it so that Enlarge can affect it, the meta magic feat, you know, so that it can go twice as far as that. That'd be pretty cool. let's hit this guy with confusion. Oh, he's immune. So you can see I'm doing fire and force damage. I'll switch over to the Utter Dark Blast, and you'll see that that force damage changes to evil damage. There's a little red dot to indicate evil damage. So if you're new to Warlock, you might be wondering how do you pick what pact you want to be, or what should be your choice. The pacts have different damage types. You know, Fey Pact does sonic damage, Great Old One does acid, Fiend Pact does fire. So which is the best? Well, in terms of the damage that they do, you know, they all have their benefits, and then, you know, they all have some mobs that are going to be immune to that. But you know, also, you remember that the tree, that this Tainted Scholar Tree, you know, it has different damage types. Like you can change that force to evil, and you're going to get piercing instead of force later, so you got some additional damage types there. And last life I did the Enlightened Spirit Tree, and that was doing a lot of light damage as well. So I think the damage type you do with your pact should be secondary to the choice of what else does the pact offer. And so look, you know, check out the wiki, and each pact comes with its own set of spells. Now the Warlock has a very limited spell selection. You only get 2 spells per level. Okay, and you only have 6 levels of spells. Okay, you get 2 spells per level, and only 6 levels of spells, but you get a 3rd spell from your pact for each one of those levels. So take a look at that set of spells that each pact gets, and decide, you know, do you want the one that has more like crowd control, charms, and dancing? Do you want the one that has like insta-death spells, for example? Choose the pact that fits your playstyle based on the spells that are offered, and the secondary consideration is the type of damage that pact does. The point is that the damage type, I think, is secondary to the spell listings that are offered. You saw 4 spells in my spell book for level 1. That's because I get command as part of my tree here. Or no, Featherfall, excuse me. Featherfall is added to your known Warlock spells at level 1. And Web. So you get some additional spells based on your enhancement line as well. When I'm talking about, you know, as I'm going through my lives here, and I'm talking about, you know, my AC and my PRR, one of the things that, you know, to keep in mind is that a lot of that's coming from past lives. I have all but one of the divine past lives right now, so I'm getting, I think it's like, and then I have all the 3 PDK past lives, so I think that's 33 extra PRR I'm getting just from past lives. And then with AC, you know, I've got all my martial past lives, so that's it. So the way that it tiers, that would be 9 times 2. I have 18 extra armor class right out of the gate at level 1. And then at level 10, because of the way it tiers every 10 levels, that would be 27 extra armor class. And then after level 20, it's an extra 36 armor class. And then once the level cap is raised to 30, it would stand to reason that that would be an extra 45 armor class. I love that trap right there. It's just a total noob killer. And I remember it getting me as a noob too, and just so many other people I was playing with at the time. You know, you see that mushroom over there, so you're like, oh, I'm gonna get this mushroom. And then you get hit by that blade trap. Oh, apparently it's just a one-time deal. Hats off to the dev that decided to put that in there. Oops. Oh, there's the lever I missed. Well, thanks for watching the Depth Chain. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you happen to be on Saralona, you're welcome to send me a tell.